They asked me, ඇයි මේ ආයතන ඔක්කොම විකුණන්නේ? මේ සියල්ලම ලාභ ලබන ආයතනනේ. මේකෙන් රටට විශාල හානියක් වෙනව නේද කියලා. So I said, දැන් මේවා කළා හරි ගියේ නෑනේ. ඇයි මේක විකුණන්නේ? ශ්‍රී ලංකන් ගුවන් සේවයත් ශ්‍රී ලංකා ටෙලිකොම් ආයතනයත් ශ්‍රී ලංකා ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් ආයතනයත් හිල්ටන් හෝටලයත් වෝටර්සේජ් හෝටලයත් විකිණුවාම අපි ඩොලර් වලට විකුණන්නේ. ඩොලර් වලට විකුණාම අද බිඳුවට තියෙන අපේ විදේශ විනිමය සංචතිය ඒ වගේම ඩොලර් බිලියන 3කින් වත් වැඩි වෙනවා. ඩොලර් බිලියන 3කින් වැඩි වුණාම මං කිව්වා ගෙදර කුස්සියට තියෙන මුදල් ශක්තිමත් වෙනවා. අපේ සේවකයන්ගේ විශ්‍රාම වැටුප් අර්ථසාධක අරමුදල දැන් 50%කින් අඩපණ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. බාල්දු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒක ආපහු දියුණු වෙනවා. අපි ගන්න පෙන්ෂන් එක ඒ වගේම ශක්තිමත් වෙනවා. ඉතින් අපි මොකද්ද කරන්න ඕනේ? ජනතාව ශක්තිමත් කරනවද? නැත්නම් ජනතාවේ මුදල් අරගෙන ආපහු අපි ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් සමාගමයි ටෙලිකොම් එකට දානවද? එයා ලංකාවයකට දානවද? ඉතින් මට තියෙන එක මේක මිනිස්සු දිහා බලන්න. ගොඩනැගිලිවත් සමාගම් දිහා නෙමෙයි. ජනතාවට දෙනවා නම් මේක කියන හරියක් කියලා.
The awaited post-budget forum organized by the University of Colombo. Reforms and relief-oriented 2023 budget. Speaker and our chief guest. Please join me in giving us Securities, Mr. Roshantha Fernandez.
Is also vested in the continuous professional, social.
Budget did have a greater focus on export-led economic growth. On the other private sector is complaining about higher taxing, doubling of taxes for exporters. What would be your response?
Very simple. We need the revenue. But we have to remember, in most parts of the world, in Europe, the export industry pays the same tax as the local industries. There is no differential. Then the question comes whether by giving tax exemptions, we are actually subsidizing export industry, which is otherwise not competitive. So I think we have to look at both those. We want a competitive economy, a competitive export industry. Then we give them concessions to start with, but thereafter we certainly will have to get the revenue from the export industries. Otherwise you become export-oriented economy and you will have less revenue than you have today. The government has a duty also to maintain the exchange rate, a stable exchange rate. That's what we have to do. So let both combine go ahead. This is a time of transformation for all enterprises, local or export-oriented. But we have to ensure whether it's local or export-oriented that they are certainly competitive. And they need not be in any way subsidized by the state.
Hi, Mr. President. I'm Talal from Deloitte. I want to know, what are your plans on innovation, especially because I'm currently doing a paper for the IMF on the relations between innovation and economic growth. We find that there are two ways for economic growth. One is population increase. In our case, we are an aging population. So what about R&D, the relationship between the private sector, universities, and the government?
That is essential. The relationship between universities, the research, the private sector, and the government. We are giving our attention to it, and we will come out with our proposals, hopefully with the help maybe of the World Bank.
Mr. President, you wanted to encourage foreign universities to build up in Sri Lanka, and you have expressed the matter several times recently. So there's this issue where you have to pay for those foreign universities in dollars. Since the exchange rates are skyrocketed, it's become very unaffordable. Do you have any plans to mitigate the situation in near future?
If foreign universities come, we will have to allow, as far as the Sri Lankan students are concerned, for the payment to be made in rupees. But then the the number of Sri Lankan students that are taken might be confined to 25%, 30%, 40%. They have to decide on the numbers. For the others, we have to earn the dollars. That's the best way. We have to work out a formula how they can then take out their profits, which they made in rupees. So those are details that have to be gone into. But we are also at the same time promoting not-for-profit Sri Lankan universities, non-state Sri Lankan universities to come, and they can have arrangement with foreign universities. That would be easier for us. But there too, if you're in any way taking on foreign staff, lecturers, then we'll have to make provision to pay them in dollars or whatever other foreign currency they desire. We've already started discussions with the World Bank. I've also discussed this with the ADB in Manila. There will be other countries such as US, China, India, all who are interested. From the government side, we are doing the discussions. Now, how is the private sector going to relate to it? Are you putting up the flag of protection and taking the government on? Or are we opening up? We are looking at removing the para-tariffs and the tariffs over 5 years with a trade adjustment program to help our industries and manufacturers to meet that competition. But beyond that, the Singapore FTA will be in operation by early 2023. Then the FTAs with India, with Thailand, with China. But the long-term goal is by next year or year after, enter into an agreement with the regional comprehensive economic partnership that brings you into Southeast Asia and East Asia. And that's not the end. Finally, we should look within 10 to 12 years' time to be able to join the high standards that are set out in the comprehensive and progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership. That really raises the level of our economy. If that's the only way that we can go, the billions and trillions of rupees we have wasted would have been better spent on our education, health, or housing. So we have to spend on education, we have to spend on health, we have to spend on housing, we have to spend on social welfare, which have been neglected. We need money for those. As far as businesses are concerned, we should basically be able to give that to the private sector, both local and foreign. So that is the thinking behind it. They still ask, why are you selling profit-making enterprises? Look at the SLT, it's making profits. If you ask the Secretary to the Treasury, he will tell you what profits that are made and how much money we'll have to pump in the future, the money we haven't got. I want to tell you in Sinhalese,